to viewport 2.0. This is where we are in Maya, viewport 2.0. Okay. So in Maya, you can quickly create, I'm going to go to my lighting. Did I delete that shell? Okay. I'm just going to create in viewport 2.0. You can create a quick Maya light. I can go to lights and go with, let's do an ambient light. Okay. No, not the, sorry. Let's go and create a directional light. Okay. So here's my directional light. I can hit 7 and now we have a light. So now we can rotate this light like this, right? And then right here in your viewport 2.0 render, sorry guys, let me move the mic. What I can do, I can select, so we have our texture, right? We have our light, which is 7, and then I can create my shadows. And we have a little shadow. As you guys can see, not the best shadows in the world. Maya's not known for their rendering, okay? Maya's known for modeling, and it's known primarily for, let's put this guy right here so we don't have, there we go, okay? So as you guys can see, really quickly, you can do a rendering, and then when you animate your walk cycle, you can have something decent. I don't know about decent, right? It's decent enough, but not fantastic. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this light and I'm gonna delete it. And I'm gonna get rid of lighting, which is 7, and I'm gonna get rid of my shadows. So we're back to normal. This is the default view in Maya, okay? What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna show you guys really quickly the Arnold render engine. So I'm gonna, in the past, you would go and you would create a render and you would have the render window. You go to your render settings, right? Then you do a quick render and all that stuff, but we're not gonna do that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna render since Maya 2019, right? So to this version and the version before, you can switch from the viewport 2.0 to have the Arnold render. Now, you have to make sure that Arnold is loaded in your computer, especially for PC users. So to do that, you'll go to Windows. I'm doing week 16 lecture, by the way. And then you go to Plugin Manager. And then at the bottom of the Plugin Manager, in the chat room, can you guys type in yes or no? Can you guys see the Plugin Manager right now? Okay, awesome, great. All right, so at the bottom, towards the bottom, we have a plugin called the M2A, okay, Maya to Arnold bundle. Make sure that this is loaded. When the semester got abruptly shut off, Brian did send me an email, horrified email saying, Arnold is not loaded on the Mac stations. So I worked really, really hard, me and Hazine from ACT, to install Arnold. And then literally the day after, we got that notification that the college was shut down. Okay, so once you guys have Arnold loaded, you can use Arnold on the viewport. All you have to do is go to render and go Arnold. And you guys are gonna get this Arnold viewport render. Now, my friend told me don't dock it, because when you dock it, it crashes. So just have it floating. And it's very simple. All you guys are gonna do is you're gonna hit render, but it's the same thing as in Maya. If you guys turn on your lights and there are no lights, your whole scene is gonna be black, okay? So if I was to hit render, it's going to render, there are no lights, therefore, you get black. Okay, so I'm gonna create the 2 most basic lighting setups. One is called the physical sky, and the other one is what we call a dome lighting, okay? Or dome light, or a dome skylight, okay? So those are found in the menu, and you will notice, by the way, the Arnold menu is found in all of the menu sets, whether it's animation, rigging, modeling, you name it, it's always there. And I'm gonna go to Arnold, and I'm gonna go to lights, and I'm gonna go, let's start with the sky dome. So when you turn on the sky dome, you have white, and you're gonna get this very basic lighting setup, okay? So what's going on right now, it's rendering. If you guys look at the bottom left of the Arnold viewport, you get rendering. And we're doing what's called the beauty pass. This can be changed, but again, this is more a little bit advanced. It's not advanced at all, but there's more settings that we have to go to. I'm just going to show you guys two very basic settings. Okay, so this is your resolution right here. It's a 1:1, okay? And I'm doing the perspective camera. So how long it took to render, your resolution, right? And what camera you're rendering. So to this crop image right here allows you to only render a specific area. Once you click on it, it takes a few seconds to load, and then you move these guys right here. This is the interactive IPR, interactive preview rendering. And as you guys can see, we have this generic shadows because the whole dome is made out of this white material. So we're illuminating with the dome. And this is a hyper-realistic render engine, okay? So it's ray tracing and all that jazz. Okay, so instead of, I'm gonna rename this, and I'm gonna call this dome light, all right? This is a dome light. That's the way that I was taught how to name these guys. And I'm gonna leave it as dome light, because dome, sky, whatever, I don't like this, okay? All right, so dome light 1, and I'm gonna put this on a layer. So let's go to the channel box. As soon as you guys change your camera, as soon as everything changes, the re-rendering, the interactive rendering starts going again, okay? What's great about it is that you can make changes and then see them in real time. Okay, so select the dome light Q, and I'm gonna put this right here. And 1 second, guys, delete and use layers. Okay, so I'm gonna name this one dome light. Okay, and I'm gonna make it yellow so I can see that, you know, this is the dome light. All right, so instead of white, if I deselect it, you guys will see it right here, right? Instead of white, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to render an image. This is what you get when you get, once you're done rendering, it'll stop and you will see how many seconds it took. I do not know if you guys can see this, but there's a series of squares that we call buckets, and they go around your image and they start clearing those dots. If I move my camera and I let go, it's gonna start re-rendering again, okay? So that's why it's an interactive preview render. And on and on and on. Very grainy. It's a brute force type of tracer. So and I'll show you guys how to fix the graininess. Okay, and now let's go ahead and switch this white for an image. So for images, if you guys want to write this down, we are going to go to everyone. We're going to go to a website where you guys can get fantastic and free HDRIs. The website, I will put it in our chat group, is called hdriheaven.com, okay? So I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna quickly share this. This is funny that this has become a render lecture, but it doesn't matter. I love rendering. You guys should like rendering. So let's go ahead and share that website. All right, so check this out, guys. HDR Heaven, one of my favorites. If you guys are loaded, please donate them some money. They would really appreciate it. You're gonna go to HDRs, and then these are all the HDRs available. And let's go ahead and select this guy right here, just because it's cool. One thing I want you guys to pay attention. All right, Frank Dongov, tangent, concentrate. You got a different lecture today. I know. Look at your shadows, okay? Make sure that you guys get not harsh shadows. Harsh shadows when it comes to walk cycles, ladies and gentlemen, tend to be very distracting because then they interfere on people looking at the actual walk cycle. Get like a soft cycle, a soft shadow. This one right here looks pretty good. Okay, Palermo, or let's pick this new one right here. It's got a harsh light, but let's see. I'm just trying to find something, a compromise. Overcast lighting is really good. So I'm gonna select this one right here, Greenwich. This could be in England. I love how they give you all this information right here. And I tend to download all of them on my own, okay? But I'm gonna download the 4K. Just going to save it. And I'm going to save this in my project's source images. Okay, so this is no, I'm not the neon sign, Frank. There we go. So I'm gonna save the 4K in my source images. Very important that you guys save this in your source image. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm going to switch to Maya real quick. Et voila. Okay, let's change this white for an image. So select your dome light. Select the dome light. And it gives you a preview. Let's go to our attribute editors. So instead of white, we are going to select this connector. This is going to connect to a render node. Okay, so here's create a render node. And we want to bring in a file. Therefore, we're going to select the file node. So click on file node. It gets grayed out because now this has turned gray. The number one rule with bringing any images, image sequences, or video into Maya, get rid of the filter. Maya wants to blur everything, okay? And let's go ahead and reload that HDR. So let's go to Greenwich Park. This is what's called a latitude format, okay? Give it a second. It's thinking. And what it's doing is going to convert the .hdr into a .txt, a texture file. A texture file, it's an easier way for 3D programs to use your images. Okay, so this took 6 seconds to render. And what we're going to do is I'm going to select dome light. In the attribute editor, I want to go to my dome light. Okay, and by the way, you guys can also do this in the hypershade. So when you guys select the hypershade, right? There is a bug on the hypershade where it always comes up the original size, not the shrunken size. So where are the lights in our hypershade? They're going to be in the lights tab right here. There's our dome light. When I select it, notice that in the attribute editor, the attributes are now set for your dome light. So the one thing that we're going to change is, let's go ahead and change our, we're going to leave everything the way it is, okay? And just real quick, I'll show you guys, this is the connection. So you guys want to change HDRs, you would go here and then change it for another one, okay? Or, and so on. Give it a second. There's this one right here. And then this one right here, okay? So, okay. So let's go back to our green part. So I'm going to select the texture because it's already converted and I know what it's going to be used for. All right, so real quickly, we have this lighting right here. It looks decent, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my exposure. So I'm going to type in 1, okay? And notice that now I get better lighting. Okay, so this is what you get. I'm going to stop the cropping and I'm going to render the whole image. Deselect the dome so you guys can see this better. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this image right here. And there you have it. Here's your guy doing its walk cycle. You guys can rotate it in the angle that you guys want. And usually what people do is that they have the little character walking and then they do a turntable. They do a side, right? So you see the character walking, make sure that you can see the hips rotating, the hips going front to back, and then left to right. And then there's no knee popping and all that stuff. And once you get a full cycle, then you start rotating the camera like this so that people can see the front moving left to right, and then the opposite side, and then the back. Okay, and that's like good enough for a walk cycle, okay? So I'm gonna bring in my guides right here, my fielding, and then put this guy in the middle of the image. Like one perfect usage of the fielding. Okay, so this is what we call a dome light. So with my dome light on a layer, I'm going to hide the dome light and everything is gonna go black. Oh, by the way, so the graininess, under view, test resolutions, by default, you are 100. Let's go ahead and finish this render right here. See how long it takes. It should only take a few seconds because I set it to a very low resolution. This is 540 HD. So it's 540 by 960. You guys can see it right here. All right, so this took, still rendering. 33 seconds. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to View, Test Resolution. And once I'm happy with this, then I will increase this to 200%. So the resolution is going to be not twice as fine, but the square root. So it's going to be 4 times, okay? And therefore, it's going to take you 4 times to render. So what you would do is you set your lighting, you set up your camera. No, you don't render, you don't use Arnold, anything. You just do your rendering the way that we're going to do it today. We're going to do our animation. We're going to have, there's 2 ways to animate walk cycles. One, you can have the character in place, and then you can see the walk cycle, and it looks like the character is moonwalking forward, right? So it looks like a regular walk cycle, but the character is in the same place. Or what we're going to do is we're going to have the character walking in the scene, all right? And once you got, and then the way to track the walk cycle on a side view is you attach a camera to the character, or and I'll show you guys, because the character is going to move forward, which is our Z axis, is going to move steadily at the same speed. Walk cycles, unless you have a plain vanilla walk cycle, okay, a target or a walk cycle. Those the forward movement on the Z direction in our case, right, is always going to be a steady curve, a single linear curve. And then what you do is you figure out what the linear curve is, you copy that curve, and then you attach it to a render camera. And that render camera follows your character. Or another way to do it is to attach a camera to your character's front movement. Many ways of doing that. We'll explore that on our last week. And as you guys can see, the rendering is taking quite a lot because I am quadrupling the amount of resolution. But as you guys can see, the grain is minuscule in our render. It's a beautiful render, okay? We'll give it a couple of seconds. This will add new people in the class. So we got 12. Well, this is rendering, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second. I'm gonna do the roster real quick. All right, and yeah, so where is it? There we go. Okay, so who we have here? Of course, Sarah's here. We have, so Michael Bradley dropped. Elizabeth is here. Caroline, Luke, Jonathan, and Mendoza. Han, I saw Han, there it is. Noah's here. Pedro's here. Rodrigo is here, and Sonia Vargas is here. Fantastic. Okay, so we're all present. Fantastic. Okay. Give me 1 second. So this render, this took 2 minutes and 53 seconds. So when you guys do your walk cycle, each one of your frames is going to take 2 minutes and 53 seconds to get this amazing look. And remember, this is on a viewport render, so, which means that we can still play around with it. I'm going to reduce my test resolution back to 100. And so we can go, okay, I don't like this. I'm going to change this, right? I'm going to go to the dome light shape, and I'm going to increase my exposure to 1.5, make it a little bit brighter. That's the beauty of HDRIs. They have all that lighting information. A regular image will not emit light, ladies and gentlemen. You have to use what's called an HDRI, which stands for high dynamic range imagery. And that's to create hyper-realistic. Ooh, that's a lot. So let's go bring this down to 2.5. So 1.25. All right. And again, you can stop the render, and then you can go to view, go to a lower resolution. But don't worry about it, guys. This computer is it's moving towards 11 years old. It is 11 years old. Happy birthday. It's moving towards 12 years old. And I'm rendering at 100% with this old laptop, and it's rendering fine. Try not to go with this lower resolution, because watch this, guys. It will do something weird to your image. Oh, I didn't do it right now. Sometimes it tends to compress it. If something weird happens or your render doesn't work, go to render, stop the render, go to render, and go to update full scene, which is Command U or Control U on a PC. and it will force the complete re-render. I don't know if you guys can see this right here, but my image got weirded out. So go to update full screen. All right, if that doesn't work, just move your object around. And is it because I'm using one of those weird things? Yeah, so try not to go from one. Okay, now if you get something like this, which is kind of common, do this, close this, go to the viewport render, and then go back to Arnold. And you'll be able to bring in this guy right here, and it will fix it. Arnold has only been in Maya for 2 versions, no, 3 versions, 2018. So it's still buggy. You know, it's not 100% there, but it's way better than what we had before. Okay, so this is your dome light. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off my dome light. Everything goes black, there's no lighting. And I'm going to quickly go to Arnold, light, and I'm gonna quickly create the second most used lighting system, which is the physical sky. Physical sky, it's a light, and I'm gonna call this one. Did I create a sky dome? Hang on. Arnold, lights, physical sky. Oh, they're both named sky domes. Okay, so I'm gonna name this one physical sky light. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this one on a layer. Let's move this layer down. This one will be our physical sky. So this one, you don't bring any images. It's a sky that lights up. So let's go to our attribute editor, and let's go bring up. So we have intensity of 1. I'm going to bring the exposure up to 1. Okay. And here you may need, why does it seem to me that, no, this is not the physical sky. We should be able to see the blue. This is wrong. This is a sky dome. So it looks like, let's go to create. Okay, so, all right, let's do it this way. Let's go to the hypershade. Let's go to Arnold, lights, sky dome. Where's my physical sky? And why are you calling it transform? That's so bizarre. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, all right. So let's see, 1. Okay, this is not Arnold. Hang on 1 second, guys. Physical sky. There it is. Okay, you'll see because you get this blue sheen right here. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go here. We are gonna go to our exposure, and let's type in 1. Notice that with the physical sky, you have to go a little bit on the bright side. So I'm gonna go to, let's see, 3. Is 3 overblown? Okay, let's go to 2.5, 2.5 exposure. All right, and now when I deselect it, you guys can see the blue sky, okay? All right, fantastic. So this is called the physical sky. So I'm gonna rename this one physical sky. This is a very generic, very, very generic type of light. A lot of people use this right here because selected objects. Let me turn it on and off. Fantastic, okay. Because it gives you a very simple render. Not too complicated, nothing very impressive about it. It gives you really good shadows to rotate your physical sky. Hit E for rotate, and then rotate it. And in real time, you guys are gonna see the shadows working. So again, this is what I like it. What I tend to do on the physical sky, ladies and gentlemen, just to prevent any issues with my shadow getting on the way. What I tend to do, let's go back to 0 right here, is for the physical sky shadow, real quick. This is the only thing that I do to change the physical sky. I go to the attribute editors and I go to my cast shadow. And what I do is I tend to cut the shadow strength in half. So I make it a kind of a gray shadow like this, or maybe less than half. And you don't want the shadow to bother, because you guys see how strong the shadow is versus the dome light where we get a nice diffuse shadow. The shadow can be problematic because it can show mistakes, or it can trick the viewer's eye into thinking that you made a mistake. Okay, so I'm going to stop. So that's the physical sky. And this is our dome lighting right here. Two different types of lighting. This one uses an image to light your character. You can get harsh light shadows if you guys get like a dead light at the beach, or you guys can get very soft shadows that don't get in the way of your animation. I recommend you guys learn how to use the dome lighting. Dome lighting is the best. Physical sky is not bad. It's just, again, super, super harsh shadow. The physical sky, what it can do that the dome light cannot do is you can animate the azimuth of the physical sky. The physical sky light is it's an actual light based on the sun. So you guys can program longitude and latitude. So you guys can light your scene based on a specific time of the day, or you guys can animate a sunrise to a sunset. That's kind of cool. But for what you guys want to do, animation, walk cycles, or what I was telling the rest of the class, once the semester is over, I'm going to put a couple of animation assignments for you guys to do. I'll upload videos on how to animate. We'll do a very basic flower sack animation, a jump. All right, and then we'll learn how to use this little guy right here to do body dynamics, like a jump, a pull, and all that stuff. And for those, I would highly recommend you guys use a dome light. That's mostly what I'm going to do for the video tutorials for a YouTube channel. It's just going to be what I explained today in the last 45 minutes, how to set up Arnold, how to do it on the render view. The only thing that I haven't shown you guys is how to shoot this, how to animate using how to render a walk cycle using Arnold. But we'll talk about that in week 16 in 2 weeks. All right, so everybody should be unmuted. Does anybody have any questions about this? Sorry about the tangent, but I thought you guys, would like to see how this is done. All right, so perfect.